Right, oh, good.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. November 4th, 2024, Board of Selectmen meeting. And as a customer, please join us with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You. Okay. We'll get going. The first thing in the agenda, 7 p.m. citizens input. I believe at this moment we have nobody for this slot. And then the next one is going to be a very exciting news.
Yes.
Town Administrative Screening Committee recommendations, discussions on the next steps. And
Would you like me to start off on that?
you know, Dennis, go ahead.
Yeah, we have a great committee that I wanted to reintroduce. I know the board appointed them, but they've done outstanding work. Shannon Lynn was the chair, Marty Roach was the vice chair, Tina Haynes, Dennis Tribino, and Christine Fessio. And they did an outstanding job, very thorough, a lot of meetings. And I think we have the result of it is some strong candidates, and I'll let the committee speak to the process, and Shannon give you a brief overview of the process, and Marty as a chairman and vice chairman. But just to cut right to the chase, we did have 4 individuals that were recommended. One decided this morning that they would pull their name from consideration. So we have 3 for you, and Hillary has binders with the 3 individuals, their resumes, some background information on them that was pulled from an individual that we had employed to basically do a very, what's known as a soft check, just a social media type check. So you have what's there on social media, as well as the position statement, which spells out, just to remind everyone what we had determined were the qualifications for the position. So the 3 individuals in alphabetical order, we're not going to rank them, and that wasn't the intent. John Coder, and John has been most recently town administrator in Foxborough for a short period of time. Prior to that, he was in Northborough. Kate Hodges, Kate is the town administrator in Lancaster, and Joseph Powers, who's the town administrator in Harwich. And you'll get their resumes along with the backup information for them, the cover letter, etc. And I think that the next step before we hear from the committee would be to consider when you want to conduct interviews. Chairman and I were looking at, along with Hillary, in 2 weeks from now, it was 2 weeks from now, a regularly scheduled Monday night meeting. Since there are 3, I think you'd want to look at an hour each. I know you had a concern with timing on that.
Yeah. So if we start at probably 6 o'clock, I think we should be on the timetable.
6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, that's what we did, I think, last time, right?
We did it at 4 last time.
It was a full hour. Yeah.
Did we do it?
Yeah, we went back and checked.
That's what I was, that's what I was.
I thought it was only a
Yeah,
half
we
an
went
hour.
back.
No, we did full hour.
So we give like a 10 minutes between?
So 6, 7, and 8, and do 10-minute breaks, so 15-minute interviews.
Yeah, I would say so. I think that might fit everyone's schedule.
On November 18th. It's fine.
Okay.
Good.
And
Not
everyone's,
good
no?
for you?
I don't think so. I have a medical procedure that's been scheduled for 8 weeks, and I've already changed it once.
Okay.
It's,
I think it's important to have everyone there, so.
We have to have
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All right, so
What-
let's look
I,
at. calendar.
What would the next date be? Would it be December what? I don't have my calendar.
you wanna, it doesn't have to be a Monday, it could be, what's,
it can be in,
any
it
other,
could be the 9th. I mean, I could do it the next day.
what about the next
Hey,
day?
can we do the next day?
Well, it's,
I mean,
a one-day
it's,
thing.
we don't want to push it too much too, because that week is, it's town meeting too, that's on the
Right, with the
20th.
20th.
20th is right.
So,
What about the week before?
that's,
The Thursday before?
That's a better Thursday.
No.
The
no, you
Thursday
have-
before Veterans Day?
So we.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
Thursday the 14th.
The 14th.
Planning has a meeting in here.
Oh, they have another meeting in here. That's the
Yeah,
planning
yeah.
board.
Oh, we could, maybe that Tuesday, the day before town meeting.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Before town
Full
meeting.
committee that night, full committee that night, so this room would be used then.
But-
No, the 19th.
No, the 12th is school committee.
What day would you have, the 12th and 19th? The 12th in the school committee,
Okay, 19's not,
Office
Board
day,
of Health.
school.
oh, but Board of Health could go downstairs, yeah, smaller, yeah, the 19th.
How about the
I'm fine the
15th?
19th, or something happens, I'm
19th.
fine.
The 19th is a Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Mike. Can you be available on the 19th?
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks for the flexibility, everyone.
okay.
So, Shannon, did you want to just talk a little bit about the process and, yeah?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So the process started with obviously the team convening, on the 19th, I think, of August to talk about what our approach was going to be. By the 26th, we had all of the applicants who had applied. I think we started with a total of 25 applicants, for the position. We all had a binder. Thank you to Hillary for sending us home. We took those binders home. We had a set rubrics of how we were going to assess the resume. So it's very structured. Each one of us took them back, came back together as a group, discussed our recommendations and our staff ranking. We had conversations about them, and settled on 6 individuals that we wanted to bring forward for interviews. Dennis and team reached out to the 6 individuals, all accepted our invitation to interview. And then we scheduled them for interviews. This is when I stepped out and the team stepped in for certain reasons. Interviewed all 6, aligned on the top 4. It sounds like there was a very much a line of demarcation between the top 4 versus the 2 that we decided not to move forward with. And then in moving forward with the 4, as you know, 1 did withdraw. So we've landed on the 3 applicants who would be interviewing with you, I guess it sounds like on the 19th.
And I think we all feel that they're strong candidates. We think they've got some good experience and have a lot to offer the town.
Look forward to seeing their resumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them. I can give them to you after. Or at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Sure,
okay.
open meeting.
Yeah.
So you said there was a big difference between the number 1, 2, 3, 4 and the 5 and 6?
So I'll defer to the team. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend the interviews, but
Yeah, there was definitely a demarcation between the candidates and the experiences that they had.
Yeah.
And when they came forth, we just felt that the 4 were definitely a group that needed to be moved forward. The other 2, as good as they did have experience and of that, but not to the caliber that we thought was best suited for the town of Bellingham.
Okay, so there is no reason to put a replacement candidate as a number 4 into the mix. So you all agreed on that part?
Yeah, I don't think there's a reason to bring another in.
Correct.
The 3 candidates that we've presented to you
Yeah.
are very, very strong candidates, and we feel very strongly that out of them, the select board is going to be able to come to a consensus of one of those 3 to be able to carry on Dennis's position.
Yeah, I wanted to hear, and then also I want everyone to, to hear the answer, just not just from us, from you as well. That's why I asked that question to you guys. Okay, and just as a personal note, I really appreciate it for everything you have done. I know it's was a lot of hard work. And as I said, I had complete faith into the whole process, and I'm really pleased and I'm really excited to what's about to become, and then just find out. And I appreciate it for your time.
I think that goes for myself too. I was the one drawback here because I was very leery of the whole process. I was not crazy about the first process, so I was very leery of this process, but I think you've done a marvelous job. You took a lot of time, spent a lot of time. And that's a credit to you. So I'm anxious to see what you brought forward. I really am.
I just wanted to say thank you very much. I was not in favor of the initial process. It had nothing to do with the committee because you hadn't even been chosen yet.
Right.
What changed my mind was the caliber of the individuals that came forward that wanted to participate in this project. I was really concerned that we weren't going to get the caliber of people. Not that Bellingham doesn't have them, we certainly do. I was really impressed with all of you, with the interviews, etc. So I couldn't be more pleased with the outcome, and I just want to thank you all for your time. And you know, the seriousness of this role. I mean, we know that Dennis's shoes are hard to fill, but hiring someone to basically be the CEO of a 75 to $80 million business is a very, very important task. And it appears to me that you didn't take it lightly, that you were very serious, and I really, really appreciate that. And the professionalism that you used to get down to the 4 and then to the eventual 3. So thank you.
Well, I can echo this all night long. I've been very much in the whole process that we did. What was your take on the process? I mean, did you think this was something that?
I thought it was a great process. I think and Tina and I were just talking about it. It so happened that we came to the table, each one of us brought something different and new to the process. And we just worked very well together as a team, respecting each other's values and the insights that we brought. So I thought it was a great process, and how it was structured, how from the get-go, from how we interviewed right through to the end. So I'd recommend it for future key roles, but hopefully it'll be the last time in another 30 years.
That's great. Hey, you know, thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. Anything else you want to add on that, Dennis? No.
I think they covered it nicely.
And thank you very much again. Appreciate it. Okay, we got all the exciting news tonight. And the next one is gonna be a Conservation Commission interview, Pamela Prentice. You wanna stay, you can. Yeah, you wanna look up, stay around.
Poor Pamela's just like.
She's like, what did I say? Why, how you doing? Good. We appreciate it for your interest for the Conservation Commission. And that's one of the I will say, you know, it's role, and we definitely in need for new people, and appreciate it for that. And what was yours?
I got the email about needing a new Conservation Commission member. I have a degree in environmental science that I earned about 1.5 years ago.
Mhm.
I've lived in Bellingham for about 8 years. I like the land, I like the open space. I live near Stallbrook. We go for walks all the time down by the Rookery. I'm very interested in helping conserve Bellingham's open space and learning more about the processes and getting involved.
That's awesome.
Have you met with any of the Conservation Commission members, got a feel for what is involved? Not to scare you, I'm just curious if you had a chance, just because it's I'm glad you have a great background, but it's a challenging role in this town.
I did get a chance to speak with, I'm so sorry, my brain is just blanking on
That's
her name.
okay.
It's been a
Hannah?
long day. Hannah, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
I
Oh,
did,
great.
yes, and she described to me what it would entail. That all sounds fine to me. I haven't been able to attend the meeting in person, but I was watching the meetings on YouTube. It did seem like there was a lot that the role entailed, but it's something that I'm interested in, so.
Is your education, what you learn in environmental science, is that going to help you get up to speed quickly? Because I've talked with individuals that have joined that commission over the years. They said, boy, it takes a good year plus to really start to feel comfortable. Not to scare you.
I mean, I
But-
think it will certainly help. Like I
Okay.
did spend time studying wetlands laws and
Okay.
wetland delineation and conservation principles. But I am absolutely not saying I'm a doctorate or an expert. I
No.
definitely will need to learn, but it's something that I'm interested
Oh,
in.
good.
So when you're interested in something, you can learn it easier, I think.
I think so too. That sounds great. Thank you. I'm good.
If I may.
Yeah.
I just think it's important. I'm glad you volunteered to do this because we don't get a lot of volunteers and it's important. Keeping our wetlands and taking care of what's going on in our town, conservation wise, is one of the more important jobs that we have in this town. So your resume speaks volumes, so that was wonderful, and I think you'll do fine.
Thank you.
I think you'll do fine, and I thank you for coming forward.
Thank you.
Jen, do you have any questions?
Michael?
Mike, you all said, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good. She's got a great resume and I think she'll do fine.
I think the passion and the interest in your education very nicely to get involved with something like that will make it very easy transition for you, and I think they would welcome your insight as well. So I thank you for stepping up and taking on the role. I mean, it's, when you love something, it's not work. It's just doing something you're passionate about. I think you do just great. So thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the nomination or make a nomination for Pamela Francis to be on the Conservation Commission Board.
Second.
We got first, we got second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mike gives aye too, so I will. Congratulations.
Great.
And,
Yep, easy one.
Thank you.
I hope I do. Good things to come.
Very much.
Okay. So the next one is, another conservation, related, ratification of, conservation administrator appointment, Hannah Chase.
You have Hannah's resume with you. I think we had her scheduled for 7:20. I don't know if
I don't think she's coming, was she?
okay, she wasn't able to make it.
Yep, she's traveling.
She's traveling, okay. You have her resume, Rob and I interviewed Hannah along with the chairman of the Conservation Commission, Mike O'Hara, and we all feel that she's a solid choice. We had excellent candidates for the position.
We did.
But Rob, I don't know if you want to elaborate on Hannah's qualifications, but certainly she has the background and the experience.
Yeah, so as you can see from her resume, she has really good background. I know 4 years experience with the same company. So she's coming from the private sector, which is nice, has a lot of technical expertise, which is really helpful, as well as getting a bit of background in the regulatory standpoints as well, because, you know, she has had to, you know, work through permitting with different conservation commissions and such. So, yeah, I think she's a great fit. The company as well that she worked for actually used to be the peer review consultant for our Conservation Commission years ago, which is, you know, pretty interesting. So yeah, as Dennis mentioned, we had really good candidates, but I think Hannah Chase will be an excellent fit for the position.
Oh, it would require ratification by the
Yep.
board to vote to appoint.
Anybody else any questions? I think she got a fantastic resume. Obviously, you and I we talked about it. It's, I think it's a.
We are looking out tonight. We are looking out with some good candidates.
Yeah, definitely.
Bellingham's becoming a really great place to come and work. You know, it is.
Absolutely.
Couldn't say that 10, 12 years ago, but really, but it is. It really is.
Yeah, no,
People want to work here.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
our land use department is growing and it's gonna be great.
Excellent.
We have a lot of projects in front of us, so. it'll be good.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Right. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to ratify Hannah Chase, Dennis's appointment, Hannah Chase, for the position of, what's the exact position named?
It's a conservation administrator.
Conservation Administrator, thank you. All right.
Second.
So we got first, we got second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Mike said aye too. No opposed, I will. Perfect. We move along. So the, sorry,
I said we're ahead of schedule.
that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I like that, Chief. So the next one is, regarding the Maple Gate, 61B right of first refusal, notice.
We're still getting some more information on that,
Yep.
and the attorney did confer with our counsel today.
Yep.
And I think it's best to table that for another couple of weeks if we could.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
yeah.
great. Perfect. So we'll, move along with that and,
We need a motion to table that then, no.
No, he's not.
Just pass it.
Just pass it, okay.
okay, and here comes a lot of fun part. And, capital requests. It looks like a chief, you're in the.
All right,
On the dock over here, you know. How you doing?
but how are you?
Good.
Good evening, members of the board, Dennis. Thank you for this opportunity tonight. Deputy Provost and I are here in front of you with two capital items this year. The first one being is ambulance replacement. We're looking to add, I say this cautiously, a third ambulance, not to staff, but as a mechanical spare. Our current ambulance, A2, has just about 65,000 miles on it. It is starting to break down. We do have to keep up on maintenance. One's got about 30,000 miles on it. Again, we don't have a mechanical spare. We have a breakdown. We had one of the ambulances out of service yesterday for mechanical breakdown. We run one ambulance. The department is just too busy. The community is just too busy. We just can't rely on having an ambulance out of service. We need a mechanical spare. This will put ambulances into rotation. We're trying to get 5 years frontline use out of it. So this would take A2, move it down to technically what would be the mechanical spare, and the new ambulance would replace that. Here's the problem. We're currently 24 to 30 months out on an ambulance. And that's a stock vehicle. That's not even a custom built truck. This is basically going down to the lot and buying one off the lot. But we're 24 to 30 months out for an ambulance. So we're asking 503,000. That's 423,000 for the vehicle itself, $80,000 for equipment, which would include radios, a new defibrillation monitor, and small things like that. So total of 503,000 for the ambulance.
Is that if you put this, do you have to put it up to bid?
No, we don't.
Okay.
Nope. And if I could just answer that, Tom, really quick, we're purchasing from a company that's on the bid list.
Okay,
The
that's
same place we purchased the 2 engines and the ladder from. They're on what they call Houston Galveston HGAC.
Yeah.
So we purchased off the HGAC.
So that if you're purchasing, the town meeting, it gets approved, are you purchasing it right away? You putting deposit down? I mean, how does that work? Because prices are going up.
Yep.
Are we getting a guaranteed 503, or is it 30 months? It's gonna be 579,000?
No, it will be, we're locked in at 423,000.
Okay.
It will be a
Plus
signed
the
document.
extras.
Plus the 80,000 for the equipment,
Okay.
again, radios and the new defibrillator monitor. A monitor alone is definitely equipment around about $60,000.
How we fund this, Jim?
Yes, we are funding it since it's so far out by borrowing rather than
By
trying to
borrowing,
make cash, it
okay.
doesn't make sense, so
Yeah.
by borrowing, but when the time comes 2 years from now. Chief Financial Officer may very well decide to fund it with free cash.
Who knows where we are
Exactly.
at that point?
Exactly.
So the authorization will be there.
Authorization is there.
So we've worked, Robbie and I, working with the vendor. We're trying to get one of the first 10 that come out, to be very honest with you. But they're still 24 to 30 months out before we see it. Now, we may get lucky and something pops in a year. I don't know, but we're gonna get our name on it ASAP. As soon as the meeting's over and if it passes, our name is on it. We'll be on the phone the next day.
In FinCom, in capital improvements, they've seen this, I know,
Yes,
and they're okay with it.
yes.
They both recommend.
They both recommend it.
Okay. We definitely need it. I mean, so, sure, there was no question about it. I know Mr. Martinez has just asked a question. So 423 plus 80,000, so 503,000, that's just locked in.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
you got more other questions?
Yeah,
Now,
you need it.
thanks for letting us know. I know it's not, but we won't be caught off guard at the town meeting, right?
I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I'm just glad, as long as capital and FinCom have approved it.
Yes.
we're good.
Like I said, it's not, it's a need. Like I said,
Exactly.
we only had one ambulance yesterday and thankfully we were able to handle all the calls. Friday, we had 20 emergency responses for the town. 18 of those were medicals. Both ambulances were nonstop, quickly from our deputy, nonstop till approximately 2 o'clock on Saturday morning. So the town is not getting slower. It's getting busier. And again, we're not looking to staff 3 ambulances. We don't have the staffing, but we need a mechanical spare that if one goes down, we can just immediately get right into another truck. Relying on mutual aid at this point is not realistic. Everyday calls because everybody around us is just as busy and we don't want to wait for an ambulance. We want to get our services out for our residents.
Absolutely needed. The town is growing. It's like you said, I mean, we pass through a town, there's a lot of things that are happening left and right. It's, we definitely see the future and then the future is here. And we have to do it.
Excellent.
May I ask a question?
Please.
So in the interim of getting the new ambulance, are your expenses tied into covering us until that new ambulance arrives?
It's called, we're just gonna continue to do maintenance, Jen, on
You're
what we
okay with
have.
that?
Like we did today, we had to do maintenance, so the mechanic comes in. We're fortunate our mechanic comes to the firehouse on small items.
Mhm.
Fixes it right at the station. We got the truck back on the road. He ordered the parts we needed and we were back
So
up
we
and
can do
running.
this for the next 20 months or so.
We have to, yep, and then we're gonna continue to do that even with A1. And we have to, and I'm not saying this to put anybody into a panic mode, but next year, the deputy and I already talked in May, we might have to look at with such a long wait time, putting A1 on the docket sooner than later, because again, we're gonna be 30 months from that point.
Yeah.
If we don't get our name in and get the trucks where they're coming out.
I think that that's a good idea because we just talked about it, the town is growing. A lot of things are happening, so we need just to constantly, if we need to replace the fleets, and I think we mentioned that to Jesse last year too, it's as well as maybe the chief. We need to constantly look into that, instead of just waiting for it, at least, let's get proactive about it.
Are there really like previously owned, really good used ambulances?
Honestly, Don.
You know what I mean? Because I see we'll put ours on the auction list.
Yeah.
Is it by chance there's a chance we could go to an auction and there might be one in pretty decent shape? Because the town's a little further ahead?
Here's
No.
what we're running into,
For
and
sure,
that's,
no? Or is that just an
I will look you in the face and
educated
tell you no, because
Okay.
here's what we're running
no? I'm
into.
not busting you, I'm just,
No,
you
no.
know what I mean?
Nope. We had to have body work done on A2, had a recall, we couldn't, we had to borrow an ambulance from Hopedale, nobody had another ambulance for us, so vendors right now do not have ambulances in stock, so everybody is running their equipment till it's beat into the ground. And honestly, Don, at that
Yeah.
point, you're buying someone else's problems,
Yep.
you're buying junk.
Yeah.
There is
No,
no,
no, I was just thinking it might be a town that's like in the cycle, they're
Yeah.
further ahead, and they want
Yeah.
to dump one. And it might only have a couple of years on it.
no,
That's all I was
Right.
thinking, because I hear what Jen's saying, hey, is that gonna last 20 months or 30 months?
it's gonna have to, Jim, we
I
have
know
to,
it's gonna
we
have
have
to,
no
yeah.
choice. We have to, but we also have to be realistic and look at that A1 may need to go in front of us in May because of the 24 to 30 month wait time.
Okay.
And we have to be realistic, and the deputy and I are working through that now, so I don't want to panic anybody by saying, well, you just came in November and asked for one. We're doing a 5-year cycle.
Yeah.
We were trying to do 8, the trucks are just not going to last 8. And if we do we did some preliminary calculations, you're looking at right now, A2 has about 65,000 miles on it. We're waiting another 2 years, you're gonna be 130, 140,000 miles on an ambulance. And that point there's regulations that kick in through OEMS, we're inspected yearly by the state. The state could walk in and go, that truck's off the road. And we have no say in the matter. And that's what happened with the 2014. They took the truck off the road on us last year.
I think we completely understand that. How many calls you said you just had yesterday?
Friday we had 18, we had 20 calls, 18 of them were medicals. We're 275 calls ahead of last year at this time right now.
So this
So-
explains everything we did.
Sure does.
Yeah.
I think it's just an automatic. We have to continually replace everything in the fleet and keep it up to date.
Yeah.
So many years we didn't.
Right.
Let's remember that. There's a lot of years we didn't do it.
We're playing catch up.
So now we are playing catch up. You're right.
Hey, if you didn't have the ambulance, I wouldn't be here, so I'll just put it that way, so.
I appreciate the mindfulness of
Yeah.
being so part of, and doing that mindful thinking of what the lifespan is, and constantly being aware of it. So,
We have to, Jen, because if not, we're again, playing catch up.
no, I
I'll leave it
appreciate
at that.
that.
Absolutely.
So that's the ambulance.
Yep.
Yep.
The second item that
You
we're
want
looking.
more? What are you talking about?
I'm sorry,
You want more?
just one more. Actually, I got a tag team with the chief after too. The second piece we're looking at is, we're looking for $255,954. This is to replace our outdated portable radios.
Mhm.
Our current portable radios are what they call non-supportive. On their APX 6000 version A's, they do not even make parts for them anymore. If they break down, we hand them to the vendor and the repair shop basically hands back and says, put it on the shelf, it's a paperweight. So we are looking to replace, our current portables are 11 years old. By the time we get through town meeting, if it passes and we order, we're still 36. No, I'm sorry, we're 3 months out on that. So we're gonna be 12 years old on our portables. We're looking to replace our portables with all band portables so we can communicate with everybody that we go mutual aid with and outside of the district as well too, because we are part of the fire mobilization plan. Currently, the portables we're using, we cannot talk to Blackstone, Woonsocket, depends what frequency, I'm sorry, I apologize, Hopedale runs on. So there are towns that we go to on a regular basis that we can't communicate with because we don't have the bandwidth. So our portable radios are literally outdated. They don't support them anymore. They don't make parts for them anymore. They don't even make the radio anymore. So we're looking to upgrade, and with the upgrade will also give us communications, so we can talk to all our mutual aid partners that we respond to. And meet the state plan as well.
And we can't open the little socket and then mutual towns in its
Absolutely.
that's a problem. I got no questions.
Is that one of you know?
20 is enough. It takes care of all the firefighter paramedics, and we'll continue to work through what we have for the non-suppression medics. We can get them a lesser model. They don't need the firefighter features, the big microphone, the heat-proof microphones, the Canadian microphones, the heat-proof cabling. So they would get a lesser, it's not meant negatively.
Yep.
It's just the firefighters need the extra standard because of what we go into on a regular basis.
Is what they need embedded into this quote?
No,
It's
no,
different.
well, we can take care of that after Jenny. Yes, yep. You're welcome. And good question.
I have no questions. I listened to this all of the capital improvements meetings, so I'm a little ahead of you here.
Anybody else any questions? Mike, you got any questions?
No, I heard Chief's presentation at the Capitol Committee. I have no questions.
I got no questions, so I think.
All right, excellent.
We have one matter that, as a police and fire
Yes.
nature, unfortunately, it was kind of came up in the last few weeks. It's
Yeah.
not included in your books, but I know
Yep.
the chiefs can give a good explanation. It also has to do with communication.
Okay.
So Chief, maybe you could come up and,
Back to you, Chief.
do that one first.
Yeah, stay, it's. I can speak fluently in that.
All right.
It's no problem.
All right.
Good.
This.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got the email?
I gave you everything that I.
You did have the,
You don't know
the
what
piece
the
on the
new-
radios. Okay.
This is
Yeah,
bad.
I don't think
The new.
I'll see it in, but Chief Michelle will give us a.
It was the one about that's on 47,000, not.
47,000.
It's receiving for the, I don't know if you haven't seen it yet. So, well, good evening. You know, a bunch of things. So the radio situation. About 6 years ago. Town got. For all intents and purposes, taken advantage of by a vendor that we are no longer gonna do business with, Motorola vendor. So I sit on the board of the Greater Boston Police Council, which is BAPR, which is our Eastern Massachusetts area-wide radio system. So, and we just had a meeting the other day where we talked about our annual meeting is this Friday, and one of the things we have to present to all the chiefs within Eastern Massachusetts is this is police only, fire has their own version of this, but it's if you're having radio troubles, if you need to upgrade, if you need equipment, please reach out so we can have someone who's fluent in this stuff look over what your vendor is quoting you. Because if you don't know anything about cars and you walk into a car dealership and say, I need a car, you're gonna leave with a Cadillac Escalade. You might have needed a Ford Escort might have been fine, but, so that's what we got. So we actually have some very good current equipment for our infrastructure. So this isn't the portable radios, this is what they talk through to be heard and dispatched by everyone else. The issue is, and I had this fancy little color map that's part of it. I'll send it to Hillary so you guys won't see it tomorrow, but our infrastructure is based, our main primary transmitter site is in Franklin on Forge Hill up behind the YMCA. We also have an antenna on the water tower on South Main Street by St. Blaise, and we have one on the water tower on Chestnut Street. The issue is, if you look at Bellingham as the big long map, everything's in the center.
Mhm.
So there's nothing at either end. So what we find is portable radios struggle inside of buildings. The buildings they struggle in are what fire would call high hazard, what I would call frequent flyers, places like Walmart, Home Depot, Stallbrook,
Stop and Shop.
DePietro,
Exactly.
Stop and Shop, all those little stores in the Stop and Shop Plaza. So all of our busiest places where some of the most, frequent calls and high liability stuff, because it includes 2 schools, our portable radios basically can't be heard from in there. And that's because if you think of like a cell phone, it's an area where there's one bar. So this fixes it in terms of what this will provide us is police and fire, a receiver at each end of town. And we've identified sites, we call these filler sites, it's expensive for I don't love how it sounds to spend $24,000 per filler site, but it's basically about $12,000 to $13,000 per piece, so police and fire times two, one at each. It's gonna be at a town-owned building because we need town-owned fiber. If we don't have that, we're gonna have to lease lines from Verizon at $189 a month, which are sporadic at best. We just had a big back and forth with them over the line that went to Forge Hill. We finally got that upgraded. So anyway, that's in effect what we're trying to do. There are some bigger projects coming down the pipeline from these bigger area-wide entities, the fire district, Norfolk County Fire District, and Bayburn, the Greater Boston Police Council, where they've looked at our Grove Street water tower as a potential place to put an antenna. If they do that, there's a chance that what we put at the former fire station on Hartford Ave or at Stallbrook, whichever is more receptive for it, we would move up there. It's a better site. But that requires fiber being around, things like that. So we're gonna let somebody else eat the cost of that, let somebody else pay for the tower person, the antenna person, and we would just jump in. So, and the same thing down south. If projects come to fruition up on Payne Street and there was to be some sort of whatever structure that the town had control of up high on the hill, we would move what we want to put the fire station up there, get a better site out of it. So these are filler sites for now. They'll probably become better sites as time goes on, but keeping it within a reasonable amount of money that I believe was available in free cash this year. This was something we can take care of, and something that Chris and I will work with a vendor, and I'll bring everything they quote me back to my fellow board members, and I will let the real intelligent tech people pick it apart and pick apart all the overpriced things they put on there and replace them with the correct things, because this stuff is, it's wildly, it's outrageous what they do. It's outrageous what Motorola costs, but that's what we're stuck with. So everything's on the state bid list, everything will be bought on contract, so there's no issues there. But that's the $47,000 piece that I guess there's a little bit of news, but
Yeah. But it has been reviewed by capital and finance, approved by them. I think it was 49,000. It was two repeaters. Yeah.
I'm getting the numbers floating around.
Is that, Heidi, is that in their books?
That was in the book.
Okay, so it is no book, good.
Is it? Oh, okay, I thought you didn't have it. You-
No, I thought I got it.
Oh, I
said
think you
I-
all have it.
Oh, I do have
Oh,
it.
okay.
And I knew, I read the.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
It's all there.
Yeah, no question. We need it.
It's the graphic.
I mean, you need to communicate for each side of the town, you know, there's a 15-mile difference, you know,
No, that's,
and,
It's a very dangerous
yeah.
situation to have.
yeah, no, it's a safety thing, and it's a thing that I think has been kind of just looked at and not really dealt with, and this is the time to deal with it, rip the Band-Aid off and deal with it and be done with it.
yeah, absolutely. You know,
It's not 507,000.
No,
Oh,
I'll see you next November.
Only under 40, you know.
All right, so you want?
He's not done yet.
Oh, I'm not-
yeah,
I just-
I'm waiting for
Remember the
the-
Band-Aid we ripped
I'm
off?
waiting
Here
for the
comes,
big
here
one
comes the
right here.
blade. So,
Yeah. School committee had that one. So our kids are completely safe, because I know you said Joe and Stallbrook and whatnot. I just want to reiterate that our families and our kids are safe in those areas. It's a struggle. We're looking to improve the situation.
kids are perfectly safe. Our issue is when we send staff inside the building, our dispatch and other staff often can't hear them.
So it
So,
was just worth it for you to say it one more time, because anyone who's
Yeah.
listening, they'll hear a bit of that.
no, there's
I
no,
think
there's
we
no,
need
there's
that
no,
all the
there's
time.
no risk, there's no danger to any, the kids are all perfectly safe. We're just concerned with our staff's ability to communicate.
That's all I wanted to, and one more time, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Just because I'm putting my, I know it's a problem, they'll hear one bit of it, and then don't have.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Chief.
I appreciate it.
Okay, we were ripping the
Okay,
Band-Aid off.
so that one was.
Do we want to do we need to do civil service? We could have a little segue here. Nope, that's
Yeah.
good.
Civil service.
That's my annual civil service article. Okay.
All we're talking about now is.
Listen, you don't have.
All right, so here's the spiel that I know many members of the board, Mike's heard it, Lon's heard, I think Jen, my spiel is this. I don't want to be here asking for $1.5 million to renovate a 9-year-old building. I shouldn't be here doing that. I have portable radios that are end of life that are an issue. I have computer-aided dispatch software and records management software we share with fire department that was written, designed, and built before most of our staff was born, 1994. So that's a big ticket item. We have things that we're, band-aiding on my side to deal with this, because this, to Don's point of Bellingham's becoming a good place to work, we just hired a 20-year veteran police officer. We've got a returning Bellingham police officer that left for another community. I may have poached him. I'm poaching him back. We've got an offer out to a gentleman that's a 13-year police officer that is, if the civil service thing goes through, come. So we're attracting people to come work here. But this is the issue. The issue is our female locker room doesn't meet the need. And then overall, the overall locker room situation doesn't meet the need for any of our employees, because we share one sink in the men's room, one toilet in the men's room, one sink in the women's room. So my understanding is when the building was built, the budget was set, this was the amount, and it had to be, the project shrunk down a small bit to hit the number. And now being in the building, we can see those places where, hey, if everything was shrunk by 15%, well, here's the 15%. But it's an employee issue. So the numbers that we started with, and the numbers that we ended with are drastically different. The good news is, I think we did put in for about 500,000 in ARPA money that, who knows? I don't think that decision's been made yet from the treasurer's office with this at the county level.
Right.
If they have extra funds from other towns, where we put a compelling thing in, so a third of this could come back. But what we realized is our original move the wall out 8 feet project grew a little bit with the previous board. We captured another piece of space that just made sense at the time behind the gym next to the locker rooms. So that grew the project a little bit, but obviously the killer for us was it's the demolition, renovation, all that. It's not adding 600 square feet. It's renovating 900 square feet of existing space to, because once we push that wall out, everything on the inside's gonna be redone like a puzzle to make it fit.
While trying to maintain an active police department.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So-
it's renovating 900, but adding 600, or adding 600 within the reno of 900?
Correct.
Yes.
640 square feet within that renovation, the existing footprint of the locker rooms, both locker rooms,
Yeah.
including the
That's where, okay.
Mhm.
existing fitness center and a natural addition that is tacked on to the end of our existing locker room.
So is the slide, there is,
Sorry, yeah.
It's gonna
have you
share.
seen, has everyone seen it? Well, okay, I don't wanna, that's all right, we'll spare the,
I have a question for you, and this is just completely out of left field. I understand police stations, they have workout facilities. I mean, the fire station, they have Belton now. And that's why. I know they're gonna work out, but why wouldn't it be thinking outside the box for us to just pay for gym memberships for the police officers
well,
to have? Wouldn't it be less
take-
expensive over time?
take 36 employees and just say it's $50 a month. That's 1,800 a month. Put that out over the course of the year. Now we're at 20,000 a year. Put that out over in perpetuity,
1.5 million.
and that's only gonna go up and up.
This isn't for the fitness center, the expansion? These are-
No, it's for the locker rooms, I know
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I also don't have a report room. I don't have a roll call room. I
I'm
don't,
not saying
so,
no to it, I'm just,
part
just throwing it out there.
well, part of renovating, adding to the fitness room is there's a space in the existing fitness room where there's almost like a wall like this that naturally exists in there. So we can wall that off with the town carpenters. It has a closet and a door. We've now just been able to create either a report room or a roll call room. And yet the gym will still be 150 square feet bigger with the added space.
So I'm asking the question for the residents, not for me, because I get it. Because I'm gonna hear someone out there going, and that's what they're gonna hear, you're gonna spend $1.5 million for a gym.
Equal access to female employees.
The presentation needs to be, we need to, 8, 9 years ago, it was, this is what we needed, we had a budget, and we did the best we could. It's not uncommon 9, 10 years from now, to have to expand that because things have changed in this town. We have XYZ more female officers. To me, it's better I didn't mention the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, in your presentation, yeah, that's a byproduct, you're gonna get a better facility, but the primary reason you're doing it. is
That's
for
the main driver.
I'm just, I get it, I'm in favor of it, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I wonder how we're gonna fund it though,
It's by bar.
by borrowing.
This one,
Yeah.
by bar, yeah.
And just for the record, I mean, careful considerations are made for cost reduction. Like the chief said, we're using natural delineation points where existing column lines are common pipe.
Yeah, this is a
the
no
wall.
frills,
Very-
it's,
Very modest.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there's any frills on this.
no.
I just expect.
I mean, I'm looking at it like,
Yeah.
wow.
There's no frills and the existing female locker room's out of space. The existing facilities don't meet employee needs for sanitation, for, that issue. And we're hoping ultimately the cost estimator came back at 1.38 million. So the 1.5 million represents that we know there's going to be the great unknown. Does the HVAC system need to be updated because it can't handle it? Does, the fire alarm wire needs to be run an extra 6 feet to connect to a new smoke detector, and the computer that runs the whole thing is 10 years old, and now we know that stuff is coming. So that was where the building committee came up with that 1.5 number. The final construction number has been, I don't want to say all over the board, but we've heard, we heard a starting number of 469 to 1.8 to 1.4 to 1.2. So this is where we've pretty comfortably landed. And basically our position is the locker room is priority. If the bids come in too high, we'll take the locker room. If the bids come in too high, if this actually goes out to bid, say comes out back at 1.8 million, we'll get rid of the fitness center piece and we'll just do the 240 square feet addition to the locker room and then the internal reservation. And that should drive this down to a $700,000-800,000 project, hopefully, with then overages bringing it to 900, maybe.
So see, that's my problem with this. Like, don't do that. I see that.
I don't want to do that.
No, I'm
but-
saying, but that's what we've done.
Yeah.
For years and years and years in the town of Bellingham. I mean,
That's our fail safe
35
if we
years
can't
I've
afford because this is not, this price is based on an estimate, it's not based on bids, this hasn't gone out to bid. This could go out to bid and no one might be interested because it's a small job and we could see a bid for $3 million. And then we might have to put it back out to bid as a smaller project to find somebody that can do it within the budget, unfortunately. I don't want to do that, but I know the reality of that. That's part of what drove the cost of this so high is that the cost estimators and the architects are at this point basically working for free for us, and they've been great. They put this out to a couple contractors they work with who won't bid on it to say, give us your numbers on this. And their answer is nobody wants this job. It requires all the trades. It's too small. No one's going to want to do it. So
Yeah.
that's the trouble that we're gonna run into when it actually goes out to bid.
are there any local, can you use a local
It's
contractor?
gonna be
with
bid
this?
up, they'd have to be the low bid, meet all the bonding requirements.
Yeah, they have to go on that
pay
state
prevailing
bidding
wage.
portal
Yeah,
and
Same
they
thing,
do.
yeah.
and it's prevailing wage. So the person with the broom outside is getting $75 an hour. I mean, that's the killer.
I'll come sweep.
I will too.
Come on.
But that's the killer.
I
So
know.
everything we're doing is at that increased cost. If this was, you could build a 5,000 square foot, beautiful home for this kind of money on 2 acres, but we're paying prevailing wage.
I still say we cannot scale that. I'm gonna be very pro, do.
Yeah.
And if it's a little more money, it's a little more money, but we can't scale that. You can't. It'd be
Yeah, I just don't wanna have to come back again and ask
I
to get
know,
more money
I
because
know.
this thing has just,
Jesse and I know how this all works. We've been just sitting on a DPW building and yeah, we know. But it is what it is, And I think everybody in this town has to realize that, it's the cost of everything. There isn't anything that isn't going up. And as you wait,
it's gonna,
it
yeah.
goes up some more. So we're better off going forward and doing it and doing what you need to do once and for all. That's my theory. It really is.
Is this gonna help for the next 5 to 10 years or?
I think 5 to 10. I beyond 10,
We don't know.
I don't know, you know, here's the thing, and here's what drives me a little nutty about the whole thing is the IACP, the International Chiefs of Police, they came out with this plan back when our building was under construction. They called it 30 for 30. 30% of your staff being female officers by 2030. Well, we're getting awfully close to 2030. 30% for us would be, with today's numbers, would be 10. Who knows what the numbers are in 20, 4 more years from now, if we have to add a few bodies. So it could be more, it could be 12. The locker room was built with 6 lockers.
Yeah.
We had the same staffing then that we have now. Our staffing numbers haven't changed in the past 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's that was on the table at the time and ignored. You know, because we had to stay within a budget, I'm told.
We had
So-
7 in the queue
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah, so the only breathing room we have right now is one of our young ladies, she transferred over to Milford. But we still have 2 in the queue that are interested in coming here,
Yeah.
that when we hopefully exit civil service,
Yeah.
those are viable candidates. I can't even take them both.
Yeah.
Because someone we're not gonna have space for, so.
Yeah.
You know, that's the challenge we're facing, and then what does our hiring pool look like 2 more years from now? We're seeing a lot of women apply, take the test, so. What do we do if we put the job out and we get 6 applicants and 5 of them are women? We can't hire you because we can't give you adequate facilities, that's not an acceptable answer.
I'm with hand with that, you know, because we gotta do it, and then if we're gonna do it, and then it's, we're gonna do it right, and then it's, and I believe it is, I always said it, you know, it's, when we explain to our citizens, needs to be done. And that's where we at, and then most of the time, they understand, and that's where we at. And,
Yeah, I wish it could be done for less, it's just unfortunately, it's, we're getting killed because it's a small job. And that seems to literally be the killer here. If we did this bigger, we don't have space to do it bigger because it's pushing back into our parking lot where and there's already a canopy there. If we did it, we could potentially do more for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
More site, because it would become a bit, but there's no space to do the more. This makes that back wall of the building just flush and even, so it's ultimately a very small project, but we're paying a premium for doing a small project, unfortunately.
let's hopefully maybe the bids will come low.
That's, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately where we're at.
We all do that one, you know.
Yep.
Good. Any other questions on this topic?
No.
Okay, we ripped the Band-Aid up. What's next year?
That's it.
That's it.
I was
That's
expecting
it?
more, just in case.
See you in April, November.
We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, hey, our fleet's the same situation. We won't even get into that. That's all the money we need for now.
No, it's not easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it for everything you do. Thanks, Chief.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, Jesse. Bring it on, you know, it's, I think, yeah, you got quite a bit too.
Yes, yeah, good evening. I wish I could tell you that I had the least amount of requests or the least amount of money to request, but I don't think either of those are true, so.
Listen, we all understand, we gotta do what we gotta do, you know, it's, just, things are changing. And, we need what we need, you know,
Absolutely.
might as well at least we talk about it, let's see if you can figure it out.
All right, great. So I've got a number of requests. I'll kind of go in order of how they were received. We'll start with the DPW request, if you don't mind. And up first, we have a portable electronic signboard. This is purchased through the state contract FAC 111. These signboards are used for a number of different purposes, whether it be DPW related or other departments who utilize them as well. Currently, we have both of the DPW signboards in use on Rentham Road for the culvert partial closure there. So we're looking to add another to our fleet, you know, for use moving forward. So essentially, we have this request in front of us tonight for electronic signboard.
Next.
All right. High level, baby, high level.
Next up, we have a request for rapid flashing beacons. This number was revised. We actually received, originally requested 3 of these rapid flashing beacons. You'll see them throughout Bellingham. Effectively, they flash very rapidly and very bright to allow pedestrians to cross. What we see in front of us is a total of 20,000 and change for 2 units.
Nice. I love it.
Okay, next up.
It's better than 38.
That's
That's
right,
why I said that I love it.
that's right, yeah, we're doing what we can.
Yep.
Next up, we have, 215 Depot Street, backup generator design and engineering. This effectively, would, fund the first portion of, generator design for a new DPW facility. As just a reminder, this, new building did not incorporate a generator for backup power. Bids came in high enough that we weren't able to move forward at that time. So we are interested in looking to see what our, best approach would be. We've got a number of, service lines here. We want to make the most effective and cost efficient approach at that. So we're looking to fund the first portion for generator design at 215 Depot.
You don't have the power, you cannot operate, and then we need the DPW building to be operated.
That's correct. Yes, sir. Okay, next up, again, we're still under DPW. We have a utility trailer request. Again, this is purchased through state contract. We do have a price for this trailer, just north of $6,000. Next up, we have a request under DPW for middle school swing replacement. This again is under state contract. We're very fortunate to find a number of these items under state contract. So we are looking to move forward with the replacement of the swings at the middle school.
That was due.
Okay, next up, larger ticket item. This is under Parks and Recreation. This is for phase 2 of 2 for the Silver Lake Dam replacement. So we did finish up with phase 1. This was the design for the design for repairs to several Silver Lake. This is going to fund the effort to make those repairs. We have not bid this just yet. But it is on the docket. This number is derived from the OPCC, which is the opinion of the probable cost estimates. Our engineer is estimating somewhere in the range of $350,000 for the repairs that are necessary for the dam to Silver Lake.
Okay. That's gonna be
That's free cash.
free cash, yeah, thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
Up next, we have this is gonna be under sewer. The request is for replacement sewer grinders for our Mechanic Street sewer station. This vendor is currently under contract with Bellingham. We do an annual bid for mechanical repairs. We did receive an updated quote through the 30 days beyond town meeting for the actual sewer grinders themselves. And we are looking to replace those grinders at Mechanic. So. Up next, again, under sewer, we're looking into a sewer and stormwater bypass pump. This pump would be used in the event of an emergency or catastrophic failure. We would bypass the sewer station to ensure that we have the means to effectively pump sewer and not have a sewer overflow. So this would give us another redundant means of pumping sewer in the event of an emergency.
And I remember you were explaining to me that, that's how important it is to have it, especially with everything is so back ordered all the time, and it's,
Yeah, we had a catastrophic event more recently, and a pump like this would have been of the utmost importance. So we're looking to get ahead of anything moving forward, so. All right, excellent. Next up, we have stormwater catch basin replacement. This request is for a failed stormwater basin on Mendon Street. We did reach out for pricing on this. And this is just a larger task that our DPW is really suited to perform at this point in time. Larger equipment is necessary. It's going to be a rather deep excavation, so we are looking to have this contracted out. Okay, next up, we have, this is under tree warden. This is continuing on with the dead tree removal. We are looking for a total of $20,000 this year to continue on with the dead tree removal throughout town. Okay, next up, this is gonna be our largest request tonight under water. This is for the Hartford Ave Water Treatment Plant Organics Removal and PFAS upgrades. So this would authorize the next steps for SRF funding to move forward with this project for both PFAS and organics removal at our northern treatment facility.
I don't have any question on that because I was part of all the stuff we dealt with.
Yes, yeah, it's unfortunately, the figures are very expensive for this process. It's an issue that not only Bellingham is dealing with, but also countrywide. It's not just Massachusetts for that matter. So this is a very large issue. So this project would not only take care of the PFAS problem, but also the disinfectant byproduct that Bellingham has had.
And a lot of it's to be funded by grants, right, Jeff?
We're gonna seek grant opportunity when possible. We were earmarked through Senator Auchincloss's office, Congressman Auchincloss's office. We will have a large portion of this will be borrowed. So we're gonna have to go through SRF funding. There is potential that a portion of that would be forgivable. So we'll certainly do what we can to try to offset the burden of the taxpayers.
It's very dangerous stuff, so we're gonna.
Yeah.
We don't really have much of a choice.
No, we
No,
don't.
we
Yes,
don't. We don't have any
do it.
choice.
No, we
It
don't.
was so funny, they just mentioned that they find it on the wild fish and game, they did a study, actually, they find them on the deer and everything else, the PFAS. Now, it's,
That's
it's
awful.
just coming up, Okay.
Yeah, Josh.
Okay. Up next, continuing on with the water treatments, we have water distribution system chlorine injection evaluation. So this process would be phase 1 of 2. This would be the evaluation for chlorination points throughout our distribution system. We currently do this actively. During a recent sanitary survey update, there was a need brought to our attention to automate the system. Have redundant means and methods. This would fund phase 1 of 2. The next stage for this process, we're estimating at this very preliminary stage, 1.5 to 2 million. So this would be stage 1 of 2. And again, this is a regulatory requirement. This isn't a want, it is a need.
I had a question related to this topic or?
It's actually on the agenda for
Yeah.
discussion, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
so,
we'll discuss that right after this, or?
sure, absolutely.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, let's see, my final, second to last request. Is going to be also underwater. This is for gas-driven hydraulics pump. This pump would be used to power a number of tools. The DPW has been very proactive in moving towards hydraulic tools for safety reasons. This would give us a remaining means to power those tools. So we would be looking to purchase a gas-driven hydraulic pump for that reason. And we did have an ad. It actually falls under highway. I apologize. I should have mentioned it when we were on the DPW portion. But we did have an ad for $500,000 to continue on with paving efforts throughout town. These requests are going through our road committee, prioritized, and we move forward. Similar with a bid procedure and for the road job. So we're looking to authorize $500,000 to continue on with paving throughout Bellingham. Exciting news.
Which needs,
Yes.
and we went through the list.
Yeah, so that's, I apologize. I do have a number of them tonight, from small to large. Any additional questions on that before we move on?
No,
No. All right, thank you.
welcome.
And Jesse,
The chlorination issue is something that I know the chairman and I had spoken about. We asked Jesse to address it. We've had some concerns about the smell of the chlorine in the residential drinking water, so.
do you want me to just add on to
Sure.
that a little bit more? So I think you and I, we discussed it in the past, and then, when I was having some conversations with some of our citizens. And, I understand you explained that to me, so when you turn the faucet on, and then why we smelling a lot of chlorine. And, I think I kind of picked your brain in the past, what are the possibilities? Obviously, we upgraded a lot of things in our infrastructure. And while we go through those processes, is there any way when we turn the faucet on, and then I know we are treating our water, but when we turn the faucet on, we are not gonna smell chlorine. And we are not gonna drink, almost like you're drinking like, some in pool water. And what is it gonna take? And then if you can give us a little bit information regarding to that. And I think whoever's watching it, it's probably, they'll have some information regarding to that too.
Absolutely. All right. So,
It's a complicated situation, but
yes, yes, it is. So I'll lead with, so the chlorine in the drinking water supply, it is something that Bellingham does. We do chlorinate our water. It's actually for a number of reasons, but for the sake of, tonight's conversation, it's for disinfection. We maintain a safe, chlorine residual in our drinking water supply to make sure it inactivates, bacteria that's found in the water, whether it be, from the ground or formulated throughout the distribution system. We do chlorinate for that reason. So, with that in mind, the smell of chlorine in the water does indicate that there's a residual, which is a good thing. So obviously a strong level of chlorine odor is at times unpleasant, but from a safety standpoint, knowing that there's chlorine available in the water, it does indicate that the water is able to disinfect organics as necessary or bacteria as necessary. Now, with that being said, with our treatment plant upgrades, there is potential, and I want to stress potential, with this revised treatment method that the chlorine in the drinking water supply may be reduced to some degree. We won't know until we're up and operational, whether or not that would happen. And keep in mind, this is years down the road. My recommendation would be to get an idea of where these complaints or these concerns are coming from. And the DPW would be more than happy to go out and do some testing to ensure that the levels that are experienced are well within the safe guidelines. As it stands, we typically see in the summer months, which are going to be the warmest, but also the time in which you need to make sure your chlorine levels are at the highest. We typically like to see about a 1.25 part per million chlorine residual in our drinking water supply. Chlorine naturally dissipates or reduces as it goes out. And to maintain a residual through our entire system, it's important that we keep that level up. So it reaches up to the extremities and we maintain that residual. Now, with that being said, the threshold for drinking water or pool water for that matter is 4. So at our strongest, we're putting out a 1.25 with the threshold of 4. Now, in the winter months, that residual may be reduced to some degree because of our demand. So if there's not as much water that's being demanded from the residents, and typically that's due to several factors such as irrigation systems being off in the winter time, lower consumption, things of that nature. Only one of our 2 treatment facilities are operating. We try to reduce the use of our northern plant for efficiencies, but also the quality of water coming into our Redford plant is actually better at a raw water source. So what that translates to is if the water is coming from our south plants and now it has to travel all the way north, that residual that we just talked about is actually declining as the age of the water gets up north. So for that matter, that chlorine smell may be reduced in the wintertime when compared to summertime. And additionally, we talked about the chlorine injection points in the summer with the higher temperatures. We also have to add more frequently. So again, it all points to the summer season, typically having a higher chlorine smell or concentration. So all said and done, if there is an area or areas of interest, we would be happy to come out, do some testing. The DPW is capable of doing that in-house. It's a relatively short process. We do it actually daily at a number of our sites. So I would recommend getting a list going and we could schedule appointments to at least investigate for the here and now.
Jesse, is it, when you begin to smell the chlorine, well, let me step back. I'm gonna say the question a little differently. There are times when I don't smell any chlorine. Then there are times when I smell a lot of chlorine. Recently, in the past few weeks, the chlorine has been strong. So is that a direct correlation to the water quality, there's more organics, or there's more bacteria in the water, which is why I have a higher smell of chlorine. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Is it automatic? Is there our system look at the organics and the bacteria and say, oh, it needs more chlorine, so we're gonna inject more chlorine into the water? Is it automatic, or is it you do it manually based upon daily testing?
That's a great question. So, the answer is kind of, somewhat complex. So our distribution system, it consists of a couple of treatment plants, but also, we have mixing systems throughout the system. So at times, our standpipes will actually force the water out, and it actually, turns over to some degree the water in our distribution piping. So depending on the time of the day, the frequency in which the pumps turn on, when we added last to our booster chlorination points, you may be experiencing some of the water that just came from the standpipe. Maybe it was just recently added to, or maybe it's something that's, or maybe it's water that's been in the distribution system for a bit longer. So the direct relation to the organics or the bacteria in this, or the lack thereof, bacteria in the distribution system, it's more to do with the age of the water at that point. So again, as water ages, as the chlorine ages, that chlorine content will naturally dissipate. If you were, for example, to take a glass of water that has a very strong smell of chlorine and just simply set it on the counter for a bit of time, a couple days, you would go back to that same glass of water and you probably wouldn't smell it at all. So it's really based on the hydraulics of the system, what's pumping at that time, what mixers are running. There are several things that are happening at any given time, so it's really tough to pinpoint exactly.
Because
what's
I
triggering
don't
it.
have a constant smell of chlorine. I reached out to you, right? I don't have a constant, it's strange, out of nowhere, all of a sudden my water, whoo, get in the shower, wow, and I've never really felt that strong of a chlorine smell, and I know it's not harmful, so I'm not worried about anything. It's just, people think, oh, our water stinks. Well, not really. It's safe, but it's the reaction. Now, the browning that I was getting on a regular basis, a week or so ago, that's not related to the chlorine.
That's correct.
It just seemed like it was the perfect storm of water, because one day my water is really brown and then the next day it's not. Then 2 days later, it's really brown again, and then I'm smelling chlorine. I'm going, okay, I know they're not related, but it was just like the perfect storm. So, but I just let the water run for a while in my house. Now my water bill's probably gonna go up, but I just let it run. Because in over time, the rust was gone. I turned on all the faucets, got the rust out, because the washing machine, and then boom, it was fine, but.
And Mr. Martinez, you bring up actually two very good points. The first of which being, in that scenario where it may be somewhere sporadic, we may want to request the resident take a sample.
Yeah.
So if they experience this chlorine smell from time to time, it may be difficult to get the DPW there when that's happening. So while chlorine does dissipate, it doesn't happen in a matter of minutes.
No.
If we were to request the residents that are experiencing that smell, take a sample, a glass of water, we could set relatively quickly with the DPW an appointment to test that water. So I can certainly plan to pass this information along in an effort to, ensure that what we're testing is representative.
Okay.
The other point that you bring forward is the browning of the water. So unfortunately, this does happen from time to time. Again, it's tough to pinpoint exactly what happens. That caused that. It could be a number of things. We've had breaks. We've had situations where there's a high use of water, whether it's known or unknown. Somebody running a hydrant that we either knew about or did not know about. So when that happens, we certainly urge residents to let the DPW know as soon as possible. If it's a small scale event, the remedy may be to just let the water sit. The browning, the sediment will settle out. But if it's large scale, we want to know about it as soon as possible so we can address it. And that might involve flushing hydrants, and things of that nature. So we certainly urge your residents, if they are experiencing any sort of brown water, to let us know.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's helpful too.
Thank you.
So I think the most of the conversations when I had, I think the closer to the water plants, in the north or south of the town. So which is the Rentham Road, or close to the Hartford Ave, or north side of the town of Medway line, which is close to the treatment center. So it's, you said the new, system we try to use, it might eliminate the smelling when it comes to the chlorine.
Well, I would never say eliminate,
Or
so
it's, you know,
it may.
or what we can do, you know, it's because as I said, I'm just saying because, you know, I thought, you know, I had this I asked these questions to you in the past, and you gave me an incredible amount of information, and it kind of, you know, I use some of the tips you gave me and put an extra water filtration system, this and that. It will eliminate it. Maybe I got kind of used to it, but when I talked to other people, when they mentioned the same thing, I said, hold on a second, you know, maybe I'm kind of used to it. But I think maybe I should ask the question to Jesse, what we can do, at least we can look into it. And as I said, you know, it's, I think in a constant basis, you know, you smell it constantly. So what we can do about it, and I will give you a chance to look into it. And whatever we can do, and then we should do it.
And you do
Yeah.
bring forward a great point.
Yeah.
So if customers are sensitive to the smell and taste of chlorine, there are filtration options available for that reason. So as we need it, the chlorine to maintain a residual through our drinking water system, there is an option to put, to install filtration at a residential point where it effectively removes or reduces the chlorine residual. At that point, it's at the customer's taps. There's no longer a need to maintain that residual. So from a residential point of view, or commercial for that matter, filtration systems do exist that could be installed if somebody were interested in reducing that even further. And to the browning points, it would capture that potentially at that point as well, if it was something a resident was interested in getting ahead of.
I can tell you, years ago, I was on well water, and then I moved over to town because I was having a lot of problems with my well. So I put in town water, and there was just naturally a lot of manganese and iron and the whole bit, right? So I put in a reverse osmosis filter for my kitchen.
Mhm.
And it's the greatest thing I ever did. Now, it's not an entire house filter, but I use it for drinking, I use it for cooking. The line runs through my refrigerator, for my ice, all of that. And, you know, they're not cheap,
Yeah.
but you can find some that are inexpensive. But you can find some that work really well, and I have maintenance done once a year. I replace the cartridges, and they're fantastic. I mean, they really do work, and it's literally they drill a hole right in my granite through and set it off, and the system's in the basement. And it works great. I mean, again, they're not cheap, but I can tell you, it works. It works. And that's not, I mean, that's a cost. It's either that or I'm buying bottled water. And now you have plastic everywhere. So I mean, church, I'm not buying bottled water all the time. You know, that's another problem, plastic. So,
Yes.
you know, there are options, and you can get entire house filtration systems too, because with my well, I had a whole house filtration. And when I moved away from it, went to town water, I could remove that. I just kept a water softener in there. And that helps a great deal too. 'Cause our water's pretty hard here in Bellingham.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
So all of that, you know, I hope it at least brings us or points us in a direction that helps, you know, solve some of the questions that have come up. You know, the chlorine level, we'd be more than happy to, again, go out, see what the levels are looking like, make sure they're within that safe operating range. Again, typically it will dissipate, but we'd be happy to just confirm that for the residents as requested. Additional means of treatment are available at a residential level, but again, there is a cost associated with that. As far as what Bellingham is doing for the chlorination throughout the distribution system, the chlorine injection is really needed to carry that safe disinfection through the system. To touch on the two injection points at each of the plants, in order to get that level throughout, maybe some of the extremities or the center of town, that residual does drop as the age of the water degrades. But again, we'd be more than happy to move forward with just testing that and making recommendations as necessary.
That's perfect. I think I got all the answers, and so water is safe. So we got that.
May not
Thank
taste great, but it's safe.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jesse.
Thank you,
Thank
Jesse.
you.
Appreciate it. Anybody else, any questions for Jesse?
No.
Okay,
Jesse has 2 bid awards if you want.
oh, okay. Oh, that's the, okay.
I move the contract 2024-WR, drinking water supply well rehab be awarded to the low bidder Dennis L. Mayer Services, a division of Weston and Sampson CMR Incorporated of Reading, Mass, for a total of $85,641.
So, second.
We got first, we got second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, 5-0. Then I think we got one more.
One more, yeah. I have right in front of me. I move that contract 2024 WWM Waterworks meters and meter transceiver units, MXU, be awarded to the low bidder, Core and Main DBA Putnam Pipe of Hopkinton, Mass. And the bid, there was only one bid, right, from what I was reading here?
Mhm.
And the bid total is $110,474.75.
Second.
We got first, we got second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mike said aye too. No opposed, 5-0. Anything else from Jesse?
And that was everything. Thank you all for your time.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Justin.
Good night.
Appreciate it. Okay. So the next one is vote on October 7th and October 21st meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept the October 7th and October 21st meeting minutes.
Second?
We got first, we got second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mike said aye too. No opposed, 5-0. Okay. Moving along. Any old business? No? Any new business?
Jen and I have new business.
Okay.
So, the Bellingham Business Association is doing their annual, Taste of Bellingham
Yep.
on Wednesday.
Okay.
And they always request a, 1-day liquor license.
Okay.
Because they'll be sampling, alcohol at the event. It's gonna be at the senior center. And, Jen is representing the BBA today
Okay.
for the request.
So moved.
Okay.
Okay.
Second?
Okay, we got first, we got second.
Yeah,
Accept
so,
the-
For the 1-day liquor license, for the Bellingham Business Association for the Taste of Bellingham, it's gonna be held at the Bellingham Senior Center on Wednesday, the 6th, from 6 to 8 p.m. And I saw online today that they're gonna, overflow parking should go to the high school, and they're gonna shuttle to the senior
I
center.
saw that, so I'd like to meet that.
Good idea, yeah.
Awesome.
I guess I'll have to go early, so I don't have to go to the high school.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna just ask you guys sign that, and I'll send a copy to Sue,
Okay,
Sue
Brady.
Yeah.
okay, so we got first, we got second.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, perfect. 5-0, no opposed. Thank you, Jen. Thanks, everyone.
Please join us, because they got a lot of good vendors.
Jen? Okay.
I will be there, just use this out.
Okay.
We serve
Sorry.
somebody's food, I'm sure.
So we got,
There's always good food.
Always
Yeah.
good.
Lots of it.
Yeah.
is this the only new business?
For me, yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else has.
Dennis, I believe that's,
Yeah.
next one is you.
Did have a few things, you've got the FY 26 policy
Yep.
statement there, which is kind of summary of
Mhm.
what we've been talking about for the past year. If there are any additions or deletions or anything that you'd like to add, I'd like to get that out tomorrow, so please email me if you have anything.
I thought it was good, I thought it was fine.
Okay,
It was right on the.
that will be coming out from the chairman, yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, the Hecate battery storage, energy overlay district has been getting, a fair amount of attention. We met with some residents this evening that expressed some concerns that they have, and I think in fairness, what I would suggest is that we look at passing on this and bringing it back once we have a little bit more information to make sure that we can answer all the questions and address all the concerns that people have, because there are answers to the information that's being requested, but I think it is a short fuse. I think we let the go forward with our public sessions next Tuesday and Wednesday, get that information out there. And give it some time to address the concerns and issues that are there, so. Obviously, it's a big project for the town, and I think it's something that, is a big project for residents that live nearby it too, and we should have the opportunity to address their concerns.
Yeah, that's fine. Fair enough.
With that,
Yeah, I think I've had several conversations with residents. I came in tonight for a little bit and there's just a lot of unknown.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fear, and I think we need to be able to back up. Support. Like defend the fear with fact, and we don't have a lot of the fact yet. And they feel like this just kind of got dropped on them.
Yeah.
And I think they explained how projects like this come to be, but still, this is not a warehouse. This is something could be scarier because they're seeing all the negative out there. And I think, there's no reason that if we pass over this, there's no reason why, hey, if we're ready to go in February, we call for a special town meeting to vote on this as an overlay district, because if you recall, if this goes at the town meeting and it doesn't pass, we literally have to wait 2 years before we can bring this back. Now, the other option would be that the company could actually go to the Department of Public Utilities
And then,
and force it on us. And then the residents on Farm Street really won't have a say in the matter. So this way, by working with them and then getting their support, it's more apt to pass.
Okay, yeah.
And I think
absolutely.
I talked to Dennis about it, I just threw that idea by me, he already had that idea, and other residents had brought that up to me too. Said, we shouldn't rush this, let's make sure we have it all put together.
No, absolutely, you're right. I think that a lot of information has been posted on social media. It's not correct, but none of us are putting the right information out there. I posted a few things on our Facebook page, and then as well as I shared it. And the differences, like you just said, the warehouse idea versus this, it's completely two different things. Because these are, and I think the Medway, when they started, they were using 40-foot containers, self-sustained, self-contained units, but now with the new technology, even like for a year or 2 years, they are down to 20-foot containers.
And it can be down to 10-foot.
That's what I said, by the time we get to us, but I think it's absolutely a right thing to do, get all the correct information, and then we'll share it in timely manner.
And I think that's the key.
Yeah.
The Facebook has been blown up, and people who have really no idea what this has been about have been putting a lot of fear into people, and I feel that's really bad, and I kept putting on there, we're having meetings, get your information, read about it, talk about it, but come to the meetings, we put these out there specifically for this reason, but people have to understand, it's fine, you don't like it, that's fine, come and, if you wanted to, I said, vote no, it's fine, but don't say what isn't really true about it. That's just wrong, and it just makes people so uneasy and so scared, and it's wrong.
It's, we've learned from the past, right? And I think it's really important that the residents here, look at how many residents showed up because they wanted to stop the warehouses. The residents are significantly more involved. I think it's important for this board to say, yeah, we're listening, planning board's listening.
Absolutely.
And it may get approved eventually, right? But at least give them an opportunity to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give them as many meetings as they need to get the correct information. That's the most important thing, correct information. Our fire department has been right on this since day one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's a great recommendation, Dennis.
Yeah, I think putting it aside is fine, Jen.
Okay.
All right, the only other thing I had to do for you is the executive session, we're beginning contract negotiations, so we wanted to. You've got a motion there for the executive sessions.
Okay, sure, we need to close the.
You're gonna, make a motion,
For the
to
executive
go into
session
executive
first, and then
session, I'll pull the board and then I'll
Yeah.
have to,
Okay, perfect.
I'll have to
So
kick Billy out.
We'll have no further comment from the public following.
Executive, motion to hold, so you want me to make a motion?
Yep.
To hold executive session pursuant to general law, chapter 30A.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to test these hearing aids.
How they work tonight, Billy?
Pretty good.
Good.
The select person on Zoom, he was the loudest.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Police chief was the loudest. I could hear you, all you all, but over here, kinda.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have to go back tomorrow to get them adjusted again.
Well, we don't have a
Fine, we'll
mic.
Come and try this.
We don't have a mic on that desk, which is why you can't really hear them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason, so don't think they're not working. If you heard everything else, they're likely, we don't have a microphone on that desk.
Yeah.
Hey.
How you feeling?
Good,
Good.
you?
Nice to see you.
You too. Thanks very much. And, I think because when I was used to being at pizza all the time, I had selective hearing. And now I got.
Now you gotta really.
Now I gotta really listen. So when I realized when I started coming to the meetings for the zoning board and the planning board
Yeah.
and here,
Right.
it was like, I better get some hearing aids because there's some important stuff I'm missing.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, you're welcome.
Cables there.
You're
Yeah.
welcome every meeting.
What, honey?
Thank you for the nice comment.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome.
Thanks,
Take
everyone.
care.
Thank you.
All
I'll
right.
be back again when I have
Yeah,
tested
thank
again
you.
I'm
tomorrow.
gonna send you this way.
This way.
We went to a trip.
I don't want you to trip on all those wires.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you.
Billy. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thanks,
Bill.
everyone.
I'll finish the motion. Motion to hold executive session pursuant to general law, chapter 30A, section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with the non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel.
All right, so,
Sally?
yeah, pull the board to go into executive session. Yes.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Yes.
And Mike.
And Mike?
oh, Mike,
Yes.
Yep.
He's yes, still.
Is everybody else up with Zoom?
Yep.
yeah, it's just, Mike and.
Mike and
Everybody's
Hillary.
up?
Yeah.
All seven, right?
What? Oh, no, jeez.
I'll get the door.
Cable laid off? Cable's still. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Good call.